I used to joke my company grew faster than my 20s. By 26, it was a $3 million brand. My mom, Renee, headed sales, lipstick always perfect, voice sharp enough to slice glass. My boyfriend, Tyler, ran marketing, while eating a burrito with one hand and texting me love you with the other. We looked unstoppable, a picture-perfect triangle. The first crack was so small it felt petty. Mom began skipping Monday pipeline meetings and snapping, "Sweetheart, I don't need to be micromanaged." Then, Tyler started working later, influencer outreach, babe, but our CRM showed no new contracts. Then ad spend surged one night while I was home with spreadsheets. Tyler swore it was a reporting glitch and kissed my forehead. I told myself I was paranoid. We were prepping the autumn drop, and I was living on cold brew. Still, inventory sheets didn't reconcile with invoices Mom approved. A boutique in Phoenix emailed to confirm a special pre-wholesale discount I'd never authorized. Mom rolled her eyes. "You're welcome for moving product," she said, like I should pay her a bonus for breaking policy. Tyler pushed to fly solo to New York Fashion Market. "Fewer cooks, faster deals," he said. Mom chimed in from the doorway, "Let the boy run, you're exhausted." The way she said boy, stretched with sugar and pride, made something in me bristle. I told them I'd do a surprise pop-in on day 2. "Don't," she said, then smoothed it with, "You should rest." Then came the sample room scene. I walked in early to find a lipstick-ringed paper cup on Tyler's desk, the exact coral shade my mom had been hyping for weeks. He doesn't wear lipstick, obviously, and no one else had been in. Our chats showed sick days and remote work. My stomach did that elevator drop thing. I lifted the cup like evidence, then put it down because I wasn't ready to know. That afternoon, the freight company called to confirm a split shipment, half to our warehouse, half to an alternate showroom I didn't recognize. The name on the account? Renee Carter, my mother, using a Gmail I'd never seen. When I asked, she blew a gust of perfume and indignation. "You gave me delegation rights months ago," she lied smoothly. "Pumpkin, you're overwhelmed." Tyler tried to soothe me the way you smooth a wrinkled hem, flat hands, flimsy reassurance. "It's all good press," he said. "We're building scarcity." But customers weren't getting orders, and a micro-influencer posted a tearful unboxing of nothing. We were tagged 100 times in an hour. That night, I opened a document titled, "If I'm Right." It wasn't proof, it was a checklist. Audit card statements. Pull calendar metadata. Call Phoenix. Cross-check market badges. Switch the warehouse cameras to continuous. I didn't want to be the CEO who suspects her mother and her boyfriend. I wanted to be the CEO who was wrong. But something in the seams was opening, and I could hear the quiet rip. I wanted to believe it was stress. Everyone around me repeated the same phrase, "You're just tired, girl. You've been burning the candle at both ends." Maybe they were right. Maybe I was hallucinating betrayal where there was only burnout. But the problem with gut feelings? They don't shut up. The next crack appeared on a Wednesday. We were preparing final invoices for the autumn drop, and I noticed one boutique had mysteriously canceled after placing a large order. When I called the owner, she hesitated, then said she'd already discussed exclusivity with my mother. I nearly dropped the phone. Exclusivity? That was my decision, not hers. When I confronted Mom later, she smirked over her wine glass like she'd just won a poker hand. "Sweetheart, you overthink everything. I just gave them reassurance, that's all. You act like I'm sabotaging you." But her tone had that sharp edge she always used when she wanted to cut me down. Growing up, I'd heard it 1,000 times. "Stop being dramatic. You're too sensitive." Those little digs that make you doubt your own brain. Meanwhile, Tyler was slippery in his own way. He started using vague language, influencer stuff, partnership talks, but when I asked for details, he'd brush me off with a kiss. "You've got enough on your plate, babe. Let me handle this." Normally, I loved that about him, the calmness, the confidence. Now, it sounded like a cover. The tipping point came with the security cameras. One night, I logged into the feed to check if the warehouse had received a delivery. Instead, I caught a blurry clip of Mom unlocking the side door with Tyler's keycard. They both walked in laughing. He had his hand on her lower back. It wasn't definitive, There was no smoking gun, just a flash of something too intimate, but it was enough to make my stomach churn. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, trying to piece it together. Could my own mother, my mother, and my boyfriend really be sneaking behind my back? It was grotesque, like a soap opera plot you roll your eyes at. But the lipstick cup, the split shipments, the exclusivity deal. Now the camera footage. The threads weren't just loose, they were weaving themselves into a noose. The next morning, I decided to test them. Tyler told me he'd be working late, optimizing ad funnels. Mom said she was having dinner with an old friend. I tracked the company Uber account and saw 2 rides booked back-to-back, both ending at the same downtown restaurant. My heart thudded in my ears as I screenshotted the data. I didn't confront them yet. Instead, I walked to the mirror and stared at myself, dark circles, messy bun, hoodie pulled tight around my frame. "You built a $3 million brand," I whispered. "Don't you dare crumble because of them." But I felt it, the crack inside me widening, letting fear and fury seep through. I was torn between wanting to march into that restaurant and scream, and wanting to crawl under the covers and pretend none of it was real. I didn't do either. I just sat there, plotting quietly. If they were really betraying me, I wasn't going to catch them with emotion. I was going to catch them with proof. Hard, cold, undeniable proof. And when I did, I promised myself I'd burn their lies to the ground. I didn't have to wait long for the proof. It practically dropped into my lap like a cursed gift. 2 days later, I was in the office late, combing through Tyler's marketing reports. He'd left his laptop open, connected to our shared drive. I wasn't snooping, at least that's what I told myself. I was just following my gut. Then I saw a folder mislabeled Q3 Trends. Cute. Inside were no graphs, no campaign briefs. Just screenshots. Dozens of them. Text threads. Calendar invites. Hotel confirmations. My hands went numb as I scrolled. The messages were between Renee, my own mother, and Tyler. They were disgusting in their casualness. "Can't wait for later. Don't forget the room number this time. She's buried in spreadsheets, we're safe." My mother. Talking about me like I was an obstacle, not her daughter. I clicked one hotel booking. The date matched the night Mom swore she was stuck in a supplier dinner. Another matched when Tyler claimed he was networking at a downtown bar. My chest tightened. Every flimsy excuse I'd swallowed over the past year was right there, documented in high-definition betrayal. I sat frozen at his desk, staring at the glow of his screen. Part of me wanted to vomit, another part wanted to laugh hysterically. A year. They'd been doing this for a year, while I was busting my ass building this company from scratch. I felt like my reality had been rewritten behind my back, every memory infected with their secret. The office was silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. I could hear my pulse thundering in my ears. I snapped the laptop shut before I smashed it against the wall. I needed space. I grabbed my bag and walked until my legs hurt, past neon bars and closed storefronts. I ended up at a 24-hour diner, staring at a plate of untouched fries. My phone buzzed. It was Mom. "Pumpkin, don't forget tomorrow's meeting with Nordstrom." Big one. The audacity. The gall. My fingers itched to type back, "I know everything." Instead, I shoved the phone face down and forced myself to breathe. By the time I got home, my shock had curdled into rage. I opened a fresh doc on my laptop titled, "The Dismantling." Step 1. Secure passwords. Step 2. Reroute all supplier accounts. Step 3. Prepare a board update. If they thought they could crawl through my life unchecked, they had no idea who they were dealing with. The next day, I watched them closely. Mom breezed in late, lipstick flawless, carrying a latte she didn't buy for me. Tyler strolled in 10 minutes after, tie crooked in that lazy way she always teased my dad about. They didn't even look guilty. In fact, they looked smug. That hurt the most. At lunch, I accidentally left a supplier invoice on the printer, one routed to Mom's secret Gmail. I waited. She picked it up, froze, then shoved it into her bag like a magician palming a coin. When our eyes met, she smiled too wide. "Everything's fine, sweetheart. You worry too much." The lie rolled off her tongue like silk. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. No, not fine. Not anymore. That night, I pulled together every scrap of evidence, screenshots, Uber receipts, hotel bookings, even camera footage, and compiled them into a neat, damning presentation. Slide 1, evidence of misconduct. Slide 2, breach of trust. By the time I was done, my hands were shaking, but my mind was razor sharp. They thought I was their fool. But tomorrow, they'd learn exactly who was in charge. I didn't sleep that night. My evidence folder glowed on my laptop like a loaded gun. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Mom's smug smile, Tyler's casual eyes, the way they moved through my company like it was theirs. By morning, I was done being quiet. I called an emergency meeting in the conference room. Just the three of us. Mom walked in first, perfume trailing behind her like a toxic cloud, phone glued to her hand. Tyler followed, yawning, spinning his car keys like it was just another day. Sit, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. They exchanged a glance, an almost imperceptible flicker, and sat. I clicked the projector. Slide 1 lit up the wall, evidence of misconduct. Their faces shifted instantly, Tyler's smirk collapsed, Mom's lips pressed into a hard line. What the hell is this? Mom demanded, crossing her arms. It's what you've both been doing behind my back, I replied. My finger hovered over the clicker. One tap. Slide 2, screenshots of their texts. Another tap. Hotel confirmations. Uber logs. Camera footage. Silence. The kind of silence that roars in your ears. Mom recovered first. Of course she did. Pumpkin, she said, in that fake soothing tone she used when she was caught red-handed. You've misunderstood. Tyler and I were working. I barked a laugh. Is that what you call sneaking into hotel rooms and lying about supplier dinners? Tyler raised his hands like I'd pulled a gun. Babe, listen, don't you dare babe me. My voice cracked, but I pushed on. You were supposed to be my partner. My right hand. And you were sleeping with my mother. He flinched. Couldn't even look me in the eye. Mom leaned back in her chair, eyes narrowing, voice dripping venom. You think you built this company alone? I've been carrying you since day one. Who got you your first wholesale order? Who coached you through your first trunk show? You're nothing without me. The words hit like stones, but I didn't let them sink. No, I said, shaking my head. I turned $500 and a sewing machine into a $3 million brand. You just came along for the ride and took what wasn't yours. Her eyes flashed, and for a second I saw it, the satisfaction she'd hidden all year. The thrill of taking what was mine. Tyler finally spoke, his voice low, pathetic. I didn't mean for it to happen. It was complicated. Complicated? I repeated. You both lied to me. Every day. For a year. The air in the room was electric, heavy with everything unsaid. My hands shook, but not from fear, from rage. You're both fired, I said. Mom's jaw dropped. You can't fire me. I'm your mother. I'm the CEO, I snapped. And you're terminated. Both of you. Effective immediately. Tyler stood, pale and sweating. Please, let's just talk. Talk is done, I cut him off. Security will escort you out. I'd arranged it in advance. 2 guards appeared at the door like I'd conjured them. Tyler froze, staring at me like he didn't recognize me. Mom hissed under her breath, You'll regret this, pumpkin. Maybe, I said, meeting her glare. But at least I'll regret it alone, not while being stabbed in the back. They left in silence, their footsteps echoing down the hall. The door closed, and for the first time in a year, the office felt mine again. But the victory didn't taste sweet. It tasted like ashes. When the door shut behind them, the silence was deafening. My chest was still rising and falling like I'd just run a marathon, but the adrenaline began to drain, leaving me with nothing but the echo of their betrayal. For the first time in months, the office was mine again, yet it didn't feel like a victory. It felt like standing in the ashes after a fire you didn't start. I went to the restroom and finally let myself break. Not the graceful movie cry, but the messy kind, gasping, red-faced, fists pressed against my eyes. My mother. My boyfriend. The 2 people who should have had my back had been plotting against me like it was sport. The humiliation stung almost as much as the grief. I forced myself to breathe, Then did the only thing I know when emotions threaten to drown me. I made a list. Lock accounts. Alert legal. Freeze discretionary spending. By the time the IT team confirmed Tyler and Mom's access was gone, my hands had stopped shaking. The company, at least, was still under my control. But that night, the anger collapsed into exhaustion. I curled up on my couch with lookbooks scattered around me like armor, staring at the ceiling, trying to understand how a year of my life had been rewritten without me noticing. Questions circled like vultures. How could she? How could he? What does this say about me? The only answer I clung to was this: their choices are not my reflection. The next morning, the world didn't give me time to wallow. A boutique owner called, confused about an exclusive deal Mom had promised under a fake label. Damage control began immediately: emails, confirmations, legal follow-ups. Then Tyler posted a slick little LinkedIn note about creative differences with controlling leadership. No names, but everyone knew who he meant. The likes piled up. I wanted to blast him with receipts, but instead, I issued a short, boring, professional statement. The brand stayed clean, even if I felt dirty inside. By noon, Mom called from an unknown number. I stupidly answered. Her voice was syrupy, practiced. Pumpkin, you're overreacting. Tyler is devastated. Family is complicated. Business is business. I cut her off. You lied. You stole. Don't contact our clients again. She sighed, that martyr sigh I'd heard since childhood. After everything I've done for you, click. I hung up. The weight pressed heavy, but a small light broke through. A customer emailed saying she wore our blazer to an interview and felt unstoppable. Thank you for making me brave. I cried again, but softer this time. Not from grief, but from relief. The work still mattered. The company still stood. That evening, I walked through the warehouse, running my hands over boxes ready to ship. My team looked to me with quiet questions in their eyes. Are we okay? I gave them the only answer I had. We're okay. And for the first time since the truth exploded, I almost believed it. The week after firing them felt like patching a boat that had sprung too many leaks. On the surface, things were steady, orders shipping on time, staff showing up, but underneath, there were ripples. My mother hadn't gone quietly. Tyler faded into the background, posting self-pitying notes on LinkedIn, but Mom was bolder. First came the whispers from suppliers. One emailed me nervously. Renee said she's still representing you. Should I be talking to her or you? I clenched my jaw. She wasn't just trying to poach. She was impersonating authority. Then came the blow I didn't expect. One of my biggest boutique clients, the kind who anchored an entire quarter of revenue, sent a polite but devastating note. They decided to shift directions and partner with a new independent label. The name? My mother's. She'd managed to lure them away with promises of exclusivity and lower prices. I stared at the email until the words blurred. My stomach turned cold. Of course she did. She knew exactly which client would cut deepest. This wasn't just business, it was punishment. I called the boutique owner directly. You know she's my mother, right? That she doesn't have the infrastructure to deliver what she's promising. There was a pause, then an awkward sigh. We do. But she made it sound like she had access to your production line. She was persuasive. And, honestly, cheaper. That word stung. Cheaper. My mother had been selling me as overpriced and herself as the better deal. I thanked them calmly and hung up, but inside I was seething. She could have ruined me if the timing was worse. One customer down wasn't catastrophic, but it was proof. She was willing to gut my work if it meant feeding her ego. I called an emergency meeting with my team. Here's the truth, I said, holding up the email like evidence in court. My mother is trying to steal clients. She is one already. She will probably try for more. But she doesn't have us. She doesn't have our infrastructure, our designs, our vision. She has smoke and mirrors. And we are not going down because of her games. The room was quiet for a moment, then Noor, steady as ever, said, then we outwork her. Outclass her. And let her sink herself. Heads nodded around the table. For the first time since the confrontation, I felt the team wasn't just looking to me for reassurance, they were with me. We doubled down. Every client got personal follow-up calls. Every order was triple-checked. Marketing rolled out a loyalty campaign celebrating our 5th year in business, reminding the market who we were. Within weeks, new accounts filled the hole the boutique had left. Numbers steadied. The boat didn't sink. Still, I couldn't shake the bruise her betrayal left. My mother hadn't just betrayed me personally, she'd tried to rewrite my company out of existence. And even though I was winning, a small part of me whispered that she'd never stop trying. But another part, louder now, whispered something else. Let her try. Because I wasn't that girl desperate for her approval anymore. I was the woman who had built something real, and no matter what she took, the foundation was mine. For a few months, Mom's little label made noise. She posted glamorous photo shoots on Instagram, threw around words like exclusive, and flaunted the boutique she had stolen from me. For a minute, it looked like she'd actually pulled it off. I won't lie, watching her parrot my business model with a smug grin made my blood boil. But illusions only last so long. The cracks showed fast. She had no logistics team, no supply chain relationships beyond what she'd hijacked from me. Orders went missing. Shipments arrived late, or not at all. Customers who expected polished branding got sloppy packaging and flimsy fabrics. The boutique owner who had left me for her? They emailed 6 weeks later, begging to come back. We took a gamble. It didn't pay off. Can we carry your spring collection? I didn't say yes right away. I made them wait. Because I wanted them to remember what choosing Renee over me had cost them. Tyler was gone by then, ghosting from social media after his freelancing launch fizzled. Rumor had it he'd left town. Mom, on the other hand, clung to her collapsing label with claws. She sent me a venomous message once. Enjoy it while it lasts, pumpkin. Everyone falls. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Her own customers were already dragging her on Yelp. Meanwhile, my company flourished. We secured 2 new retail partners, doubled online conversions, and launched our strongest line yet. Instead of shrinking under Betrayal, the brand grew sharper, leaner, and more focused. My team wasn't just loyal, they were galvanized. Every box we shipped, every glowing review we received, felt like proof. We had survived the storm, and the storm had drowned itself. One evening, I walked through the warehouse as the final shift wrapped. The air smelled of cardboard and fresh fabric, the sound of tape guns echoing like a rhythm I could finally relax to. Noor joined me, handing over the latest numbers. Up 20% from last quarter, she said, smiling. You did it. No, I corrected softly. We did it. Later that night, I thought about everything. My mother's lies, Tyler's weakness, the way they'd almost broken me. But instead of bitterness, I felt clarity. Betrayal is ugly, yes, but it had forced me to look at myself in a raw, unflinching way. I realized I'd been building not just a company, but resilience. I won't say it didn't hurt. It did. And maybe it always will, a scar that throbs when touched. But scars are proof of survival. Proof that the wound closed, that you kept going. If anyone reading this finds themselves in my shoes, betrayed by the people you trusted most, remember this. Their choices don't define your worth. What you build, how you rise after they try to break you, that's what defines you. As for my mom's label, it fizzled into nothing within 6 months. No fanfare. No headlines. Just silence. And me? I'm still here. Stronger. Smarter. And finally free.